Hey, we're going to talk all about digital organization for teachers in today's video. And especially I want to talk to you quickly about why digital organization is so important. You're going to put tons of work into prepping, creating, curating activities that work really well for you and your students. And you want to be able to use them year after year after year, or at least pull them back out when you've got that prep again. Digital organization is key for this, so keep watching to learn everything you need to know from Lisa.
Hey there, my name is Lisa McCarg, and today I am going to share some digital organization tips for new teachers. So I currently work as a digital organizer, but I was a high school Spanish teacher for 10 years. And my first year of teaching, I thought I was super organized. I was doing a great job with my lesson plans and my resources, and that was not the case. And my second year of teaching was a nightmare. I could not find what I needed. I wasted hours searching for resources I knew I had, but couldn't find. And I ended up having to recreate everything from scratch again because I could not find what I had. And after that second year, I knew something had to change. I spent about the next 5 years creating a digital organization system as a teacher that worked for me and saved me hours of time and just countless energy. And so today I want to share my top 2 tips for you as a new teacher so that you don't end up in the same place I was that second year of teaching. And I would love to know what you think about this presentation. Here's all the places you can find me online. So the first thing is folders are your friends. Whether you are using Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, iCloud, your school's server, wherever you are storing your files, do not let them all just be in one giant list of things. Okay, so I'm going to use Google Drive for my example today. If you just put all of your files into the My Drive section of Google Drive and that's where they live with no folders, that is like taking all of your clothing out of the drawers, out of your closet, putting all your clothes in a giant heap on the floor. You are never going to find what you want. Anything in the middle or bottom of that pile is never going to be seen again because it's buried. It is the same way with your file. We want to subdivide them into folders just like we would with our clothing. So here are some folders I recommend everybody have. A lot of people struggle with what should my folders be? And while I can't tell you that specifically exactly without sitting down and talking with you, these are always good to have. One is an admin folder, a place for you to save school policies, bell schedules, anything that is sort of that administrative part of school. Next is an archive folder. Now you might not need this right away in your teaching career, but I promise you will. Archive is a place to put things that you're not currently using, or you might not use again, but maybe you will. You don't want to quite get rid of them, but you do want to get them out of the way so they're not cluttering up your main files that you're actually using. Archive is just a place to set things aside that we might need later, but are not currently using. For example, I've taught like every level of Spanish, but at the end of my career, I was teaching levels 1, 3, and 4. I was not teaching Spanish 2. Did that mean I was gonna like delete everything from, my previous 8 years of teaching Spanish 2? No, I was not. And I also did not want that folder just like in my way every day. So I went ahead and I just stuck it in archive. So if I taught Spanish 2 again, I knew where to go get it and it wasn't in the way. Next is a learning folder. Now this can be professional development. This also might just be resources you find online. I had one actually called materials downloaded from other maestros. And these were things that I found shared on social media, from blog posts that I downloaded. I was like, ooh, that's a really good idea. Or, wow, that's a great free resource. I'm not sure when I'm going to use it or what I'm going to use it for, but I think it's going to come in handy. And so I would just put it into that folder. And this was great. So if I remembered, oh, I got a great chat mat from Bethany Drew, I want to go grab that, I knew where to look for it. Or if I was teaching a novel and I just needed some new ideas of how to teach that novel, I would go look in this folder for inspiration and be like, oh, there's that scaffolded writing activity. That would be great for, this upcoming chapter. After these sort of basic folders, when it comes to your teaching materials, your lessons plans, your activities, resources, a good starting place is to have a folder for each prep and then a folder for each unit. So for example, a folder for Spanish 1, and then a folder for each unit of Spanish 1. So like my first unit was called Mucho Gusto. The second one we talked about ser and pronouns. So I had a folder for each of those. So this is what my Google Drive looked like when I logged into it as a teacher. And then I just had my units. 2020 and 2021 was the final year that I taught. And then you can see I have a folder for each prep. And let's just go into Spanish 1. And you can see now I have a folder for every unit that I taught in Spanish 1, plus just a couple of extra things. This Bajo el mismo sol was kind of like, it was a song, it was a filler I would put in if we kind of needed a break, or I had a class that was moving faster and needed to fill some time. Now, you can stop here and just do the prep and then the unit, or you can get more specific. I like a lot of subfolders. So for example, in the school unit, we learned estar. We learned a little bit of tener, like yo tengo, no lo tengo. Actually, I think this was a Senor Woolley song, maybe. Yeah, this was actually a Senor Woolley activity. The test, the vocab, and just kind of a few random things here. So when it comes to storing your files, make sure they are subdivided. Just like you wouldn't mix, like probably, I'm assuming, your socks and pajamas and like teacher clothes all together in like the same pile, you would probably separate those out. Separate out your teaching files as well. It's gonna make it easier to find in the end. My second tip for you is to name your files well. Don't want to see anything that's untitled or copy of or quiz 1 or Spanish 1 quiz. You're probably going to give a lot of quizzes in Spanish 1 or assessments of some kind. So I really like for each file name to answer these 3 questions. What is it? What's the content? And which unit or prep does it belong with? So this is an example file name, Gustar Quiz MGRT. Just from looking at this file name, what is it? Well, it's a quiz. Well, guess what? I give a lot of quizzes. What is this quiz about? Oh, it's about the verb gustar. Well, I teach the verb gustar several times. I teach it twice in Spanish 1. We review it in Spanish 2 for verbs like gustar. So which gustar quiz is it? Oh, MG stands for mucho gusto. So this is the gustar quiz for Spanish 1 Unit 1. And this RT stands for retake. So this isn't actually the original quiz, it's the retake version of it. So just from looking at this file name, I know exactly what this file is. There's no questions. I don't have to open up like 3 different quizzes to find the right one. I put dots in here simply because it makes it easier for my brain to easily scan it. I'm also strategic with my capitalization. This is another file name, tarea1.svc. If you're teaching a foreign language, pick a language. Don't sometimes call it tarea, other times homework, sometimes HW, sometimes deberes. Pick a word and stick with it. Same thing with quiz. It was always quiz for me. It was never prueba or examencito or anything like that. I always used quiz. Pick a language, pick a term, and be consistent with it. Now, this 1 is also strategic. That means something to me and to my students as far as how it was going to be graded. Students would have a tarea 1, tarea 2, and tarea 3. I taught in a 1-to-1 environment. All of my students had their own devices. They saw my file names. And so I taught my students how I named my files as well. SVC stands for saber versus conocer. This is the very first homework for the saber versus conocer unit, which is in Spanish 2. So again, it's very clearly named. So just looking at the file, I know what it is. And it's also very searchable. So for example, one time I had a friend who was going to be introducing direct object pronouns, but she wasn't really sure how she wanted to do it. All I had to do was search my Google Drive for files with DOP in the file name, direct object pronoun, and it brought up everything I had related to direct object pronouns. So I could easily find the introduction story I wanted to send her to help her out. So not only does this make it really clear when you're looking at your files, it also makes them extremely searchable. And those are my 2 top tips for being organized as a teacher. If you can create folders for each prep and each unit and just put your resources in there, it's going to make it easier for you to find them the next time you teach that unit. And if you name your files well, it's going to save you so much time because you're going to be able to search for your files and you're also going to know what they are. So you're going to know exactly which file you need to open up. If you have found these tips helpful, I would love if you would let me know. Or if you have other questions about staying organized as a teacher, please reach out and feel free to ask. I would love to help you out.